Haïti, pays, son Seigneur, c'est pour marcher, mais dans la mer, dans le temps parfait, pour guetter, nous fait pour s'aimer, nous marcher, mais dans la mer pour Haïti, car vine plus belle, en nous, peut-être ensemble, pour Haïti, oh non, tous au Seigneur. Pour Haïti.
Non, c'est Wilner Auguste. Moi, c'est un membre Haitian Americans United Inc., HAU, télépatriote et télécréole. Je voyais une salutation patriotique à nous toutes qui avons gardé nous là. Je voyais une salutation ça dans le cadre. Non, c'est Wilner Auguste. Moi, c'est un membre Haitian Americans United Inc., HAU, télépatriote et télécréole. Je voyais une salutation patriotique à nous toutes qui avons gardé nous là. Je voyais une salutation ça dans le cadre de célébration 218e anniversaire fête drapeau nous et célébration tout mois de mai comme Mwa Eritaj Ayisyen. C'est une célébration de l'histoire nous, culture nous et contribution nous dans le monde entier. Mois de mai, c'est un grand mois pour nous-mêmes Haïtiens. 1er mai, c'est jour de travail avec l'agriculture en Haïti. 15, 16, 17 mai, c'est congrès à CAIMAN, côté tout mulatio avec Noirs qui fait tête ensemble pour combattre l'esclavage et pour l'indépendance du pays d'Haïti. 18 mai, c'est création de drapeau nous et c'est jour universitaire. 20 mai, c'est naissance Toussaint L'ouverture. Et dernier, dimanche mois de mai, c'est fête toute maman haïtienne. Nous commençons à célébrer le mois de mai dans Boston officiellement en 1999. C'est moi-même, avec Charles Lucien et professeur Oreste Joseph qui commençaient la célébration ça dans Télé Créole. Et je ne dis c'est dans pile ville côté haïtien qui a fêté mois de mai et c'est une continuation fête drapeau. En pile officiel, tant que maire, gouverneur, sénateur, député, une proclamation pour reconnaître mois de mai comme Mwa Eritaj Ayisyen. Nous avons monté drapeau, parade, conférence, exposition, festival, etc. dans plusieurs villes dans les États-Unis. C'est une célébration pour faire connaître l'histoire, nous, culture, nous, contribution nous dans le monde. C'est une célébration pour nous manifester patriotisme, qui c'est l'amour nous gagnons pour pays nous et pour la communauté côté nous vivre là. C'est une célébration tout pour faire tête ensemble pour le développement. On célébrer le mois de mai, mais on démontrer patriotisme ça, pas seulement pendant le mois de mai, mais chaque jour et quel que soit côté nous. Bonne fête, Mwa Eritaj Ayisyen, bonne fête drapeau, Kemela.
Greetings, I'm Kim Janey, Mayor of Boston. Happy Haitian Heritage Month. This month, we celebrate the rich and cultural and historic contributions of Haiti and its diaspora in the United States. Boston is home to the third largest Haitian community in America. We value our residents of Haitian descent, not just this month, but every month. And we also thank our Haitian first responders and our Haitian essential workers for your tireless efforts. In the words of anti-slavery abolitionist Frederick Douglass, a former U.S. Consul General to Haiti, we should not forget the freedom you and I enjoy today is largely due to the brave stand taken by the Black sons of Haiti, striking for their freedom. They struck for freedom for every Black man in the world. Piti, piti, na vancé.
Bonsoir à tout le monde qui est branché ensemble avec nous à soir. C'est un plaisir pour moi-même de capable là ensemble avec nous. Thank you everyone who has come this evening to connect with us online to celebrate our Boston Public Schools second annual Haitian Heritage Month. We are utterly grateful, first and foremost, to the community that entrusts us with their children to be able to educate them, to our colleagues who work within us in Boston Public Schools during this time of COVID pandemic, who have faithfully served our community and our children, and also to those in our community, our champions, our stakeholder groups, who continue to walk along with us to be able to let our communities know how valued they are. C'est un privilège pour moi-même capable là ensemble avec vous après-midi ça, pour moi capable dire en faveur de Boston Public Schools bienvenue et pour nous bailler salutations à parents yo qui ba fait nous confiance pour nous capable instruire moun yo, à professeurs nous yo, administrateurs nous yo dans Boston Public Schools malgré nous subir et vent Covid là, mais ensemble Jean que Kim Jenny dit na petit n'a avancé pour nous capable faire travail dans marché. Et aussi nous dit merci à vous-même qui fait partie de la communauté qui viennent ensemble avec nous. Jean Baudy dit, mon nom c'est Daphné Germain, moi c'est assistant surintendant dans Boston Public Schools, moi c'est premier haïtienne qui chita dans poste ça. Et devise nous et désir nous c'est pour nous capables continuellement assurer que le programme que nous gagnons comme Toussaint L'ouverture académique qui est situé dans Madahan, pour des petits nous apprendre en deux langues, anglais et créole, que le programme ça est capable là, pas seulement pour Haïtiens, mais aussi pour toute la communauté dans Boston, côté n'a célébrer langue et culture. As shared, my name is Daphne Germain. I am of Haitian descent, the assistant superintendent of the Office of English Learners, one of the first of Haitian descent to sit in this role. And the vision that we have within the Office of English Learners is a continued celebration of language and culture of our children and all the immigrant groups and communities in the city of Boston. Just as we had launched the Haitian dual language program at the Madahan Toussaint L'ouverture Academy, the goal is to continue to open up more opportunities for the children in the communities in the city of Boston. Today, we hope that you will enjoy Steve Desrosiers, who participated with us last year to do the first Haitian Heritage Month celebration and provided some wonderful lessons learned about the Haitian history and how we impact the global community. And I look forward to the second half. And I say to everyone who is here today, thank you so much to Bodhi and the OEL team for putting this together.
Bonsoir, Bodhi. Hello, everyone. Such a pleasure to be with you today as we celebrate, the Haitian Flag Day. And as you can see, the office is really all about Haiti. We are so pleased to share with you some of the skills that our students are learning about their culture using music. We use music to educate them about their culture and to keep them connected. So throughout the day today, in the celebration, we'll see some of their performances here. And we are from the Immigrant Family Services Institute, known as IFC. And we work with so many partners, the Haitian American United, Tula and Center, and other organizations to really support our youth, support our children, and so that they can stay connected. So it's such a pleasure to be with you, and I know that you will be seeing some of the videos soon. Thank you. Donc, qui fait que nous avons fait meeting ça jeudi, c'est parce que une bagage qu'on a essayé de développer, c'est de développer connexion pour nous-mêmes qui dans le pays, qui peut-être fait partie d'un network où on connaît exactement qui sorte de talent que nous gagnons, qui sorte de sanité à apprendre en Haïti. Et une bagage qui est bon, c'est que quel que soit sorte à apprendre, non? Give me one quick second. Put it on mute.
Bonsoir tout le monde, moi-même c'est Léonica Piermentus, actrice, réalisatrice et autrice de Nord en Nord. Je profite de l'occasion ça pour nous souhaiter nous toutes un bon mois de mai et spécialement à l'école publique de Boston, un bon mois héritage. J'aime parler d'héritage, je voulais parler de culture en nous. Nous tous connaissons culture, peuple, c'est identité. J'aime parler de héritage, je voulais faire référence à belle histoire ça que nous gagnons. Je ne peux pas parler de l'histoire sans pas citer non Catherine Flon, qu'aucune chaîne femme ça, femme jam ça, qui te coup drapeau nous, blé rouge ça, qui se fierté côté de passé, nous lever en l'air pour montrer emblème nous. Je ne peux pas parler de l'histoire sans pas citer non Christophe Pétion, Dessalines, Capois la mort, Claire Heureuse, Marie-Jeanne et toutes ancêtres nous yo, qui te bail sang yo, qui te bail corps yo, qui te bail nam yo pour te faire de nous premier peuple noir indépendant sous la terre. Bon mois mai et bon mois héritage en nous. Bonsoir tout le monde, moi-même.
Hi, everyone. My name is Vityel, and I am Haitian American, a proud graduate of our Boston Public Schools, and an attorney and advocate, and I'm a candidate for Boston City Council at large. I just want to wish everyone at Boston Public Schools a happy Haitian Heritage Month. May you all take the time to learn more about Haitian history and be proud of our very rich heritage and everything that we've offered the world. So happy Haitian Heritage Month. Make sure you rock the flag and have a good month. Thank you. Bye. Hi, everyone.
Bonsoir tout le monde, nom c'est Motled Alexis et puis très content pour me là avec nous à soir. Je souhaite que nous avons enjoy le programme là. Occasion à DJ en wedding, en mariage Boston, occasion à DJ en fête Boston, occasion à entraîner basketball pour Boston Latin Academy High School, ou bien occasion à travailler dans la State Street Bank Boston dans finance. Je suis très content, je suis fier que mon gradué de l'école publique Boston et puis tradition ça là toujours qu'elle a célébré héritage haïtien chaque mois de mai pour tout mois. On a appris des cultures, des expressions haïtiennes et histoire haïtienne. Je souhaite que nous ayons des traditions haïtiennes vivant dans la famille, nous que la monté de nous créole, n'a pas quitté de nous manger bon cuisine haïtienne, bon cuisine créole et puis que nous faisons fiers d'apport haïtien Haïti. C'est la levé d'apport ça fort bien haut, et puis changer que l'union fait la force.
Ensemble, nous te mettons pour nous te faire drapeau ça, qui c'est symbole liberté. Nous fin créer drapeau ça, c'est mieux pour nous mettre, pour nous combattre ennemis invisibles ça, qui c'est coronavirus. Moi-même, Catherine Flon, m'a demandé nous appliquer même formule là. Qui c'est propreté, laver main, respecter distance.
Moi-même, moi c'est Haïti. Quand les enfants yo, rassemblez, tomber sonner dans toute habitation, pour nous rassembler les enfants. Aïe, aïe, aïe! La patrie, Haïti en danger. Maman petite marée vente. Si nous campons bois croisés tant que Saint-Thomas, cabrit a fin manger jardin nous. Après ça, pour nous relayer fermer barrières, là déjà trop tard. Et nous mettre tout chanter en termes. Nous allons la bataille, nous bataille. Nous allons so cabrit, nous bail blanc. On va j'ai tout fait. Pour nous vendre les grands monde moins. Et puis je ne jeudi pour nous quitter division. À dévorer une l'autre. Pour Couronne ta vie touyer. Moi-même, maman nous Haïti. M'a demandé pour nous faire tête collée. On prend John ensemble. Pour nous croiser. Courir chal baride Couronne. Si c'est pas ça, la fin cassée pour nous graine pas graine. Pile pas pile. Prends de l'eau. Prends savon. Mettez masque. Mettez gants. Prends distance. Pour nous sauver maman nous. Pour le drapeau. Pour la patrie. Pour Haïti. Couronne ou Axis.
C'est moment et pour nous capter entrer avec histoire nous, gens que nous te prévoir aller dans le programme là et jeudi pour nous gagner avec nous et Steve Desrosiers et qui parle parler nous, qui parle faire un peu d'histoire pour nous et nous voulons avant même que nous et passer main by Steve. Steve, I will give you give you the host to help with the presentation. I would like to thank each and everyone for joining the first celebration. As I said it before, it is the first one in a series of 3. Today is the 14th. We will have the next one on the 21st with the participation of the HLCC, Project for Hope, and UFES. And I would like to say thank to HAU, to the OEL team, AFAB, UFES, IFC, NIMA Project for Hope, Haitian educators, Gilbert Albert. I would like to thank Nicole Lenz and each and everyone for your support. We will have a good time with Steve Desrosiers, who will be presenting the life of Toussaint L'ouverture.
The life of Henri Christophe.
Henri Christophe. I'm sorry. Life of Henri Christophe, and I can ensure that you will have a great time. Donc, je pense que nous parlons un bon temps avec Steve Desrosiers qui va présenter nous sur la vie de roi Henri Christophe.
Good evening, everyone, and happy Haitian Heritage Month to you all. I am happy to be here with you this evening as one part of the celebration of Haitian heritage. My name is Steve Desrosiers, and I am a member of Boston Public Schools Office of Advancement. And this evening, we're presenting and celebrating the life of one of my heroes and one of Haiti's most cherished and controversial heroes. And we're talking about King Henri Christophe. So, Henri Christophe was born in the Island Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis, which was also referred to as St. Kitts and Nevis, to an African mother of Bambara descent and possibly a French or English father who was possibly the plantation owner. On October 6, 1767, St. Kitts had previously been French territory, but at the time of Henry's birth, it was British territory. So young Henry may have grown up speaking basic French and rudimentary English as a boy. Interestingly enough, St. Kitts was also the birthplace of a man who would become one of America's revered founding fathers. And here I'm speaking about Alexander Hamilton. The similarities between these two men are astounding. Alexander Hamilton, who was born on January 11th, 1755, is born out of wedlock, just like Henry. Both men are men of action. They leave home and they leave their parents at an early age. They are both energetic in body and mind. They are entrepreneurial. They are immigrants who are going to make mighty contributions to their adopted nations. They're intellectual, they're revolutionaries, they are abolitionists, they are progressive. They are published and extensively published at that. They're both temperamental. They are both opinionated, aggressive, detail-oriented, micromanagers, loving parents, astute politicians, misunderstood by their peers, and both will eventually die by gunshot wound. Both to date remain standard bearers for their respective countries. And lastly, both would be commemorated in very popular plays that would commemorate and celebrate their contributions and their lives. Christophe was born an inquisitive and argumentative and temperamental, strong and rambunctious, nearly uncontrollable young man with lots of energy. At 7 years old, he was apprenticed to a mason on the estate where he was enslaved. He learned his trade well, but was easily bored and got into mischief, and eventually he proved too much for his teacher. At 11 years old, he was sold to a French naval officer as a bootblack, a boot polisher, and a personal servant on a ship led by First Lieutenant Charles Hector Comte d'Estaing, who was leading 3,200 French troops supported by 800 free and enslaved men of color to support 600 American Continental troops led by General Benjamin Lincoln in Savannah, Georgia. The French, who was King Louis at the time, agreed to support the American cause against the British in 1779. And so these 800 troops from different parts of the Caribbean were known as the Chasseurs Volontaires de Saint-Domingue, or the Volunteer Chasers of Saint-Domingue. So Henry boarded one of 24 ships bound for Savannah, Georgia, to support George Washington's fight against the British. The sailors on the ship gave him his last name, Christophe, since he was from the island of St. Kitts or St. Christopher. He served as a drummer boy during the siege of Savannah and was reportedly wounded during this battle, taking a bullet to the shoulder. The fight was a catastrophe for the Revolutionary Army. The Chasseurs suffered 168 casualties, among whom Christophe was one. 1,000 American and French soldiers were wounded, and Lieutenant d'Estaing lasted exactly 1 week in Georgia and left for Cap Haitien on October 20th, 1779. Christophe left America impressed by the winners of the fight and would remain a fan of King George III and the British as an adult. After the Battle of Savannah, Henri is sold again to a free mulatto this time, a plantation owner in Cap Haitien named Badesh. He's put to work in the kitchen as a scullion, which is basically somebody who's doing the most menial tasks and the worst of the work. Well, Badesh begins to receive news that the quality of Christophe's work is excellent. They receive reports of his neatness, of his energy, and they begin to have him trained as a cook for the plantation. And even at this, Henri excels. He takes to the task of being head cook precisely because it puts him in charge. It requires devotion. It requires exactitude. It requires irascibility. And he loved to yell and order people around. Badesh eventually recommends Christophe to the Hotel de la Couronne, where he was part owner. The hotel was near a site named Clogny, where as many as 15,000 slaves would gather on Sundays to sell their produce from their own gardens. And Christophe begins to mingle with them and to learn and develop his knack for business among them. In his early 20s, he is robust, he's broad-shouldered, he's handsome, and of a yellow-brownish color. He's proud and he's also ambitious. He has an eye as well for the young daughter of a free Black shop owner in town. And in addition to kitchen support, he manages the stables of the hotel. He uses his tips to buy horses from the Dominican Republic to sell them in Cap Français. And in short order, he's able to purchase his freedom. In 1790, he also served as part of the local volunteer militia in service of local plantation owners, serving as artilleryman and dragoon, a soldier on horseback who's also adept at fighting on foot, helping to quell slave rebellions and insurrections. So when money was low, he was also known to take part in short excursions into piracy whenever the opportunity arose. So he was certainly quite the hustler. By 1790, the mulatto population in Haiti began to forcefully advocate for their rights. France did grant them political rights after the success of the French Revolution, but Saint-Domingue's whites forcefully denied their mulatto children access to political and high office. And two mulattoes particularly, Vincent Auger and Jean-Baptiste Chavannes, took up arms to defend the mulatto cause in Cap Français. Henry knew Chavannes, who was a soldier with him in Savannah, and who openly advocated joining Blacks in a full struggle for the liberation of all on the island. His partner, Vincent Auger, opposed this. And after both men purchased guns from Charleston, North Carolina, they violently confronted the white planter class of Saint-Domingue to access their rights. Christophe was part of the local militia that was among those who helped defeat these rebels. Chavannes and Auger would vote for their efforts, and this event would help usher the start of the Haitian Revolution, where mulatto and Black unfortunately worked on opposite ends. It marks Henry's entry into politics, specifically the politics of slavery, color, and class, as a grown and free Black man in Saint-Domingue. There was a long tradition of slave insurrection in Saint-Domingue. Black, Muslim, and non-Muslims caught in the spiral of the slave trade restlessly fought off servitude and established strongholds in the mountains from which they raided plantations for food and to rescue their friends and family. Some of these strongholds hosted free Black communities and had in them children who had never known slavery at all, but were warlike and ready for battle at any time. The early Muslim leaders of these revolts were the precursors and the tutors of the second generation of Blacks who would take up the battle to free all Blacks from bondage in Saint-Domingue. The 700,000 slaves denied weapons by the mulatto Vincent Auger to join a mutual fight took their own chances for total freedom in 1791. And they were led by a Muslim cleric with the nickname Bookman, but the nickname really means bookman, or in Muslim terms, that means man of the book. So this leader was a Muslim scholar, a marabout, a teacher, and a military leader. The cleric Bookman and 9/10 of the enslaved population of the North launched the Haitian Revolution on August 22nd, 1791. It was a revolution where Senegalese, Sudanese, Bantus, Tuareg, Aradas from Dahomey, Nagos, Kiambas, Africans from the Gold Coast, Igbos, who had previously been fighting one another even in Africa, finally joined forces. After the capture and death of the Muslim Bookman, his second in command, Jean-François Papillon, successfully led Haiti's rebels under the Spanish flag, threatening to deliver the entire island and its riches to Spain. The French, in a countermove, offered freedom to all slaves who joined them in 1793. Jean-François and his second in command, Biassou, refused the offer. But his third in command, Toussaint Breda, who would later be known as Toussaint L'ouverture, joins the French side and turns around and defeats Jean-François and Biassou, causing their exile. Biassou would end up in St. Augustine, Florida, then Spanish territory, and Jean-François headed to Cordova, Spain, and was left to finish his days pretty much destitute by the Spanish government that once generously supported all of the early rebels of the Haitian Revolution. Toussaint assumes supreme leadership of the fight that defeats the Spanish, and this delivers the entire island to the French. He makes himself the sole governor on France's behalf. His chief lieutenant is Dessalines, and a young Henry enters the fray under Toussaint's banner at this time, working as an infantry captain, helping him to recruit and train new recruits, new warriors to further ensure recent successes. And here he is introducing himself on May 20th, 1743. I am Toussaint L'ouverture. My name is perhaps known to you. I am bent on vengeance. I desire the establishment of liberty and equality in Saint-Domingue. I strive to bring them into being. Unite with us, brothers, and fight with us in the common cause. Your most obedient and humble servant. Toussaint issues the first constitution of Haiti. However, Napoleon comes to power, ending the idealism of the French Revolution that gave political rights to Haiti's mulattoes, and recognized Toussaint as governor. He and his second, the French warrior Leclerc, intend to subdue Haiti and its rebels and return everybody to a state of servitude. Meanwhile, Christophe's star continues to rise, and eventually he oversees the rebuilding of a host of districts in the north of Saint-Domingue, including the plantation where he was a kitchen aide as a boy, Habitation Portelance. Toussaint notes the productivity of the plantations under Henri, and he charges him with overseeing the reconstruction of the plantation economy in addition to his duties as a warrior. Henry comes up with the fermage system, a form of serfdom. All plantations would belong to the state. Workers would be tied to the plantations where they were previously enslaved, but they would receive 1/4 or 1/4 of the profits of those lands. 1/4 would go to government, and the soldiers in charge of these plantations would be rewarded with 2/4. Toussaint adopts the system in 1798. The three men destined to lead Haiti to freedom were Toussaint, Jean-Jacques, and Henri. And these three would face off Napoleon's assortment of 21,175 troops of French, Spanish, and Dutch warships. Toussaint would be kidnapped by Leclerc and boarded for France on a ship named Eos with his family. And in leaving, he prophesied that in capturing him, France had only chopped off the trunk of a tree, the roots of which were many and deep, and that the tree would grow again.
Et moi-même, c'est votre Michel Haïtien qui est là, qui va chanter mon son maman de Evelyne Michel. Vine danser maman, moi, pas danser maman, moi, d'abord, maman, moi, pas capter, ça, moi, vine danser maman, moi, faire sourire maman, moi, d'abord, maman, moi, pas capter, ça, moi, souffler, en pile bagage du parti, j'aime pas ces côtés me sorti, c'est pas seulement miracle nature, livre l'amour ça dépassé, pour voir ça qu'elle qui dépensait, car non, mon petit temps, l'eau possédé, mon son maman, boy, vite dans ces moments, ouais, car dans ces moments, ouais, maman, pas capter, ça me Linda say mama when Vesuri mama when Gabacha mama when Bakapeo Samuel Macadeo say tout cheveux blancs est en poussé Papa souris Ou Wizel avec un papa Ou pas j'aime comme pour maman Contre ça écrit accent Tout à parler en quête Linda say mama when Kada say mama when Gabacha mama when Bakapeo Samuel Linda say mama when Vesuri mama when Chama mamãe, bacateu, samuel. Patacan Louis, quelque chose s'est passé dans la vie. Ça quitté la caille, parti, mamie, pour même pour la pitié. Oui, maman chérie, où c'est y'a coup de crayon, c'est gâti. M'a des questions, chercher réponse. Maman, voyez raison. Où c'est maman, c'est maman, c'est maman. Voilà quand l'oubli, quelque chose s'est passé dans la vie. Ça quitté la caille, parti, mamie, pour même pour la pitié. Oui, maman chérie, où c'est y'a coup de crayon, ça gâti. M'a des questions, chercher réponse. Maman, voyez raison. Patacan Louis, quelque chose s'est passé dans la vie. Ça quitté la caille, parti, mamie, pour même pour la pitié. Oui, maman chérie, où c'est y'a coup de crayon, ça gâti. M'a des questions, chercher réponse. Maman, voyez raison. Oh! Où c'est maman, où c'est maman, où c'est maman. Ouais, pas qu'à payer, non. Comment, voilà. Patacan Louis, quelque chose s'est passé dans la vie. Ça quitté la caille, parti, mamie, pour même pour la pitié. Oui, maman chérie, où c'est y'a coup de crayon, ça gâti. M'a des questions, chercher réponse. Maman, voyez raison. Encore. Patacan Louis, quelque chose s'est passé dans la vie. Ça quitté la caille, parti, mamie, pour même pour la pitié. Oui, maman chérie, où c'est y'a coup de crayon, ça gâti. M'a des questions, chercher réponse. Maman, voyez raison. Oh! Où c'est maman, où c'est maman, où c'est maman. Moi, pas qu'à baby, oh no. Merci maman, ouais. Merci, merci maman. Merci maman, ouais. Merci, merci maman.
This is a song I wrote long time ago, but it's still valid. It's for my people. Happy Haitian month. Yours truly, Joel Michel Bash. Until next time, take care of yourself.
Again, thank you. Have a wonderful night.